Welcome to Head, Heart, Hands. My name is Gary Jones, your host. I'm a discipleship pastor based here in Tucson, Arizona, where we're at currently. And we're joined again by John Miller, Pastor John Miller. Thanks for coming again.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I'm not going to introduce him again because he's been on here several times. And hopefully you've been listening to the other episodes about who he is. But in short, he's been a pastor in a ministry for over 50 years and has a lot of experience. And we've been going over his book called Resilient: Key Factors in a Long and Successful Pastorate. We'll have the link in the description for anyone that's interested. But we've been going over these key factors that help ministry leaders, pastors, missionaries, I think in a lot of different areas of ministry.
Absolutely.
Last long in ministry and not get sidelined, burnt out, lots of different things like that. So we've talked about 3 factors so far, and today we're on the 4th factor, and he's based this off of research that he did for his doctoral studies. Mm-hmm. And the 4th factor that we're talking about today is the importance of having accountable relationships. So let's just jump right into it. And the simple question would be is why are accountable relationships so important to a long and successful ministry?
One of the things that I found out in my research, once I gathered these, with this dissertation that I did, and then put it in, the answers in this book, but there were a good number of pastors that I sought after who had served in one church for at least 20 years. I wanted to find out what their secret of longevity was. And so that's where I came up with the 9 factors.
Yeah.
There were 9 factors that all of them seemed to have those 9 factors. And this one on accountability, 90% of the ones that I interviewed told me through the research that they had someone through the years, that someone or a number of people that they were accountable to.
90%.
90%.
Which is not a small percentage.
It's not a small percentage, and it's not true of most pastors.
Oh, that's interesting.
You get together with pastors group and you ask them, do you have an accountable relationship? And they might say yes. But you have to define what accountability means.
Yes.
Because I meet, once every 3 months with someone. We go out and have lunch and kind of
play golf or whatever.
Shoot the bull. And,
yeah.
Yes, and that's my accountable partner. He checks up. Hey, how's it going over there at that church? It's going pretty good. All right. Hey, good shot.
Yeah.
I'm
Probably
serious.
not what it meant by accountable.
And yet,
partner. Yeah.
that's what pastors will do.
Yes.
So often. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And I actually wrote in my book, because the first line, it says 90% of long-serving pastors I interviewed for my dissertation indicated that they had been accountable to others throughout their tenure. And so I wrote, wow, how could we not do this? I'm working on this personally, trying to get a group of guys to do that.
Yeah.
I know other pastors that do. But just in a practical sense, what makes it so important? It seems obvious, but I'd like to unpack it.
Well, there's different reasons why it is crucial. And I think first and foremost is when I think of Adam and Eve in the garden, when they sinned, they hid.
Yeah.
Okay? Because what? Because of shame. Mm-hmm. And if we're going through something, and we all do, we all battle the flesh and the spirit, we're going to lose. As well as when we're going to lose, and some of those losses are pretty big, and we don't get up so quickly. We may go before the Lord and pray and ask forgiveness and say, Lord, give me the strength not to give in to this or to treat this person this way or whatever we might do, and yet we're not finding victory there. And the Lord, iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And we, in our flesh, don't want to be sharpened because that hurts. It hurts. It can dent our ego. And so one of the reasons we don't find true accountability is because of shame.
Yeah.
We just don't want to be found out. So it's important because we have a sin nature. It's important because we want to represent Jesus well, and we, as ministry leaders, there's a target on our back, and Satan is out to take us out. So he'll use that private part of our world to try to take us out. And the stats are not very good in terms of a pastor who has developed a habit where no one really knows where he's coming from in his walk with God.
Yeah.
No one really knows about his personal life. Over time, things tend to erode.
Yeah.
And there's a price to be paid for that. So yeah, there's statistics about that we all know because they hit the headlines sometimes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And for every one that hits the headlines, there's probably hundreds or even thousands of ones where a pastor fell in some way that you don't hear about.
Yep.
So to be accountable is to be vulnerable, is to kind of open the kimono and say, hey, this is who I really am. This is these warts, wrinkles, and all. Here's where I really struggle. And here's how I want to serve the Lord, how I want to get over this and deal with this. And so the big question is your motive for serving. If it's, I want to reflect Jesus the best possible way to the people I serve, then if you say that, you're also saying, I want to be held accountable. I want some people, a person, others, who can be honest with me if I'm slipping and sliding, if they see something about me. Because we all have rough edges and blind spots. And a rough edge, we might know some of those rough edges that we have. You know, maybe attempt to anger or lust or something. But
and if not, your wife will let you know.
If your wife, man, that's right.
For good. I mean in a positive way.
For good. We also have blind spots, and a blind spot is it's in our blind spot. Others can see it, we can't.
Yeah.
And so we need people to be honest with us and say, hey, how's it going here? Because I noticed this, or I see that, or how you doing over here? And notoriously, pastors are reluctant to open up that much to people.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that. I was chatting with a guy who's a ministry leader, and he helps pastors. It's kind of his role. And I love the work that he does and their ministry does. And I asked him, why don't more pastors get involved with this? I mean, you guys are just helping us and serving us and blessing us. And I don't remember his exact words, but it was something along the lines. It's just pastors don't want to be known. Many pastors don't want to be known. They don't want to be, I don't know if he used the word found out.
Whoa.
But that was kind of eye-opening. And they would do counseling with pastors around the country. And it was just really eye-opening to hear some of the things that, just that would be no different than you'd hear anywhere in the whole world.
I know.
Just from that, like as if we were not Christians at all.
Temptation to
heavy
silo,
stuff.
Just to silo.
Yeah.
And because there are plenty of pastors that I've known through the years that have fought insecurity. And we all are insecure to some degree, right?
I will line up first.
But it's funny how some who feel the call to shepherd others, have some real issues with insecurity,
Yeah.
But we do.
Yes.
And that leads us not to be honest sometimes about where we're really at. I'm afraid to tell you who I am, kind of a thing,
Yeah. Or we feel like, well, hey, like I'm a pastor, like I should have this kind of figured out. There is kind of that temptation as well. But it's weird. And I'm sure you've noticed this too. I've noticed in my own life, because I have friends and mentors, like yourself being one of them, and close friends where I open up to them. I share the things I'm struggling with, things that I've done that I'm ashamed of or I'm concerned about. And I think every single time I've actually done that, I've been met with grace and not condemnation.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. It's a good reminder for me.
That's what you're going to find in a grace-based church. If you come out of legalism,
yes.
Oh my goodness, you're
right.
You're going to hide for fear of judgment.
Yeah, these are obviously all healthy people that love the Lord.
But you don't find it out until you open up, and then others people say, "Oh, I've had that same issue." You have?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now that you bring it up, I'm bringing up I'll bring it up. And
Yeah.
there's something therapeutic about
Most definitely.
about kind of mutual confession there, and then finding the RX to it, finding the way forward through that struggle in our life.
Definitely.
But I would say that some churches foster this ivory church mentality, pyramid kind of a thing, where the pastor's at the top, the pinnacle, everybody looks up to him. Some churches foster that because they say, well, he's the clergy, I'm just the laity, and he has all the answers. Who am I? And some pastors start buying the press clippings. They start thinking they're actually a little holier than thou, and that puts them in this ivory tower alone. Okay. And the church actually has helped to do that. Maybe it's their polity or their government or how they view
or the robes or whatever it may be.
Clergy and laity, the dichotomy. Never the twain shall meet. I'm clergy, you're laity. Your laity means people, by the way. The word laos, people.
Oh, that's
so
interesting.
So they're people.
The priest or the pastor's not people.
I'm priest. I'm higher on the food chain.
Funny. Yeah.
And so
I wonder where priest actually comes from, that word in particular. I know pastor's obviously shepherd, but
that's
priest,
biblical. Obviously goes to the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Priesthood.
Well,
and the priesthood of the believers in the New Covenant. Priesthood of believers that we're all priests. And that's the way a pastor needs to look at his congregation on the same level. It's all level around the foot of the cross.
Yeah.
And he needs to see himself that, hey, okay, looks like I've been gifted in an area that allows me to do ministry and to serve over these people in an authority situation
as a leader,
where I'm leading. And so I need to be very humble about that I'm leading these people. I'm leading the sheep. Where am I taking them? Where am I going? And to keep that thought in mind throughout ministry. But it's, the flesh is there tempting us just to believe what people say about us, and then that we are just ripe for a downfall.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so what have you seen in your life? I mean, because you've served 50 plus years of ministry. I don't know the exact number. I mean, there's obviously consequences over the long haul for not having accountable relationships. And what have you seen? Obviously not sharing names, but it's just kind of what have you seen in life and ministry?
This is why an elder. This is why Paul tells Timothy, I don't want any novices being elders.
Yeah.
The word neophyte, newly planted. I don't want people involved in leadership in the church who don't have a track record of walking with God over a good period of time. And why is that? Because when you see the underbelly of the church, it can rock your faith, unless your faith is deeply rooted in Jesus and not people.
Yes.
But with novices, they tend to, look at people and put them on pedestals. And this is what I found, and it did rock my world when I was a young Christian in ministry, to watch some people that I thought highly of, and people who I knew personally, who fell, who just absolutely fell in sin. And I couldn't believe it, because I said, if that person fell in sin, then it might be immorality, it might be some other areas where I can't believe what they did. I go, if that person who I looked up to can fall, man, I could fall.
Yeah.
Who am I that I'm Teflon, stronger than, more godly? Because, some of these people have ministered to my life in a deep way. I'm serious. I've got names that are flooding my head right now from many decades of ministry. And we all, anybody listening to this can name names of high-profile people or people they've known from their own churches. And it's a big hurt. It's a huge hurt. And I would say the lion's share of those situations, and some of it I've been close enough to know very well how it happened, that they got into where they were, whether it's into a depressive state that nobody knew about, and it grew and grew and grew until they just quit overnight, because nobody knew that They just couldn't take it anymore. Or someone who fell morally. No one really knew this second life that they were living.
Yeah.
Because, hey, our sin nature can fake. It can fake spirituality. And you can preach a great sermon and have an immoral relationship at the same time. People could come to Christ through your preaching or or however you're ministering.
Which is hard to understand, but yes.
Well, because God's word doesn't return void,
Yeah.
man. You're out there preaching the word or sharing the word or teaching this Bible study, whatever you're doing, and people are blessed and they say, thank you, I finally found grace and all this.
Yeah.
And yet you go home and you're on the internet looking at porn,
Yeah.
totally absorbed, totally enslaved. Well, that's a slow fade. It takes it takes time for that to happen, and because nobody's close enough to you to know, to detect something's off.
Yeah.
Hey Joe, what, you seem a little, what's going on? Or to be able to ask the question, hey, how are you doing, man? I know I struggle in this area. How are you doing in that area?
Yep.
I have to let you in to ask those questions of me. And if there's no one around to do that, two are better than one. They have a better return for their labor. If either of them falls, the other will lift him up. But woe to him who falls when no one else is there to lift him up. So, and a three-stranded cord cannot quickly be broken. So, Scripture's replete with the need to have accountable relationships, and it's imperative. Let's put it this way. And like I say in my book, if you don't have meaningful accountability group or person, you better step back from ministry until you do.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you want accountable situations that you can't fake them out with, things are going fine. Yeah, this is all right. Yeah, how you doing? You're going to be honest. And if you're not honest, they can detect something's off. They know you that well. And that takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time. I'm in a group right now with 3 other guys. We used to be 4, but one passed away of cancer. But the 3 guys, for about 13 years, gotten together on a consistent basis, us once a month. And it's an accountable relationship. And they know me. They've seen me go through the battle. They've seen me make mistakes and wish, coulda, shouldas, and I blew this here or there.
Yeah.
I know the same thing about those guys. We walked together through the battle. And so when I come into that relationship, I'm completely me and open. It's no fake what? They know me.
Yeah.
They know my weaknesses and where this or that. So it's beautiful and it's healing.
Yes.
And I come away refreshed.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me think, I don't even know who this person is that said this, but it's a quote that I read pretty often, but it says, we have to lean on the wise counsel of our brothers and sisters who can help us in our time of need and when we can't see ourselves clearly. And I just think about that. There's so many times I've just had a wrong view of myself that we just get stuck, we get stuck on loops of things, and then you bring it to someone and they say, well, that is true, and that's completely untrue, but there's something, we can't often do that by ourselves.
Paul said, I don't even examine myself. The one who examines me is the Lord. And so he's being honest. If I evaluate myself, I can miss this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where the flesh takes off and the spirit begins, and maybe I'm giving myself props when I shouldn't be. And so there's been times where someone has said to me, where I thought he did something good, and they said, no, it didn't work out that well because you said this, and that person got hurt, their feelings hurt. I said, what? And it kind of, whoa, okay, I see what you're saying, because I thought I was doing the right thing, and it ended up in the wrong way, that kind of thing. But I had somebody to say that to me, and we need that throughout our life, and to do that, it's all about crucifying the flesh. That's what it is. It's just denying the flesh. The flesh fights to live. It wants to live. And when we feed it, it gains strength, So being truly accountable is really crucifying the flesh. And if we're going to enter ministry, we have to be on this road of sanctification, part of which is putting death to the sin nature and not allowing it to rear its ugly head in our life and destroy us.
Totally.
But it's a fight. It's a battle. It's not like you win and then you've won from here till Jesus comes.
Yeah, forever.
It's the war of the flesh and the spirit, and it'll be there until we see Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, for anyone listening, I mean, just a reminder, it's like these are things that help us become resilient. These are factors in life that help us become resilient. So for ministry purposes, so we're saying accountable relationships are going to help us in the long haul. It's not like fail-proof situation, but it will help us in the long haul because we can still make decisions that sideline us or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But so I would have a hard time understanding how anyone could be against this idea, at least at face value. I get why, if like what you're saying, there's a shame issue or an insecurity, a church hierarchy belief or whatever. I can see why they wouldn't, but at face value. But what would you say, kind of just wrapping up our time? Because I have a hard time believing someone needs to be convinced that they need accountable relationships. If we want, I would love to talk to you. And we would love to talk to you. But what would you say some of the do's and don'ts are in accountable relationship groups? So like a covenant group, like use that language, or with a friend. Because I feel like there's things, like we talked about, like not being honest in that relationship. What are things that come to your mind?
Well, one thought is that, yes, you're right. I think every pastor would say yes to accountability. Mm-hmm. And then they go off and they might form accountability groups that are easy for them, mm-hmm. and don't pay the price of dealing with my insecurity, insufficiencies, my sins, my whatevers. But a group to be effective needs to be one where the people in the group, and let's say you got 3 or 4 people, if that's the way it is, or it might be one. I mean, there's different ways to skin the cat here. There's different ways to do this.
Or maybe a mentor one day, or it might be another situation.
It can change over time, Like
I've talked to you. We've talked.
I know.
You know what I mean?
We've been just...
And then I'll talk to some friends, and I'll talk to another mentor. It just kind of
We've been
varies.
straight up with each other at deep subjects, and left nothing, on the floor, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's the questions that we allow to be asked of us. It's the statements that we make to our accountability partner or partners that are honest. Like, guys, this has been the hardest week of my life. I want to tell you, because Wednesday, so-and-so left the church and they reamed me out. I'm feeling like I just want to leave the ministry. I think I've had it. I just feel so drained. Hey, this is our group, but I'm going to tell you, my wife and I just keep having this struggle. I need your prayer and I need your wisdom as to how to respond properly, And so that's you telling them. Yes. But it's also them speaking into your life and say, man, how, you've talked about in the past how you've struggled with that pornography stuff. Mm-hmm. How's it going lately? Any trip ups? When was the last time? That's an important question.
Yeah.
So,
like you're giving people permission to ask the hard questions.
Yes.
It sounds like.
And if you are, there's more of a tendency to be honest.
Definitely.
And then through honesty comes liberation, because you're fessing up, you're being honest, you're kind of getting it out of your system. You're emoting, which is therapeutic in itself.
Yeah.
And then they're saying, wow, man, I had that happen to me, 2 weeks ago. You did? And hey, let's stop right now. We're going to pray.
Yeah.
We're going to pray for John. Let's just pray. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So definitely like an openness and honesty, allowing people to speak into our lives.
Yes.
Key things. No, this is awesome. I love this. My wife was, she listens. She helps me put these online. So she's like, these are awesome.
Thank you.
And I agree that thank you, Patty. I agree that these are awesome things to think about, to talk about. And me being a young pastor in my 30s, I've been in ministry for, how long has it been? 11, 12, 13 years, something like that. Yeah. And it's just good for me to just reread the book, be reminded of these principles, try to implement them in my own life, and Anyway, so recommend the same for everyone
Yeah.
else. So thanks,
Yeah.
John, again.
You
For this
bet,
episode.
Gary.
We've been doing these like
Absolutely.
mini podcasts, and we're going to keep going to do all 9 factors. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.